back for part 3 of 3.
Let's go.
We got to wrap it up.
And I can't tell you what all 10 things were. You're not going to
No,
quiz me.
sir. No.
Whew.
We finished part 2 talking about curating our own health and putting really the responsibility on ourselves to make decisions, and how that is such a privilege and an opportunity, but it's also a big responsibility.
Yeah.
So now we're going to just talk about some nitty gritty do's and don'ts and some practices that I would recommend.
Perfect.
And I will say this, when I'm trying to think through things like this, I get really irritated with long lists and things where you're being spoon-fed what you should do, because again, everyone is so different. I really would rather communicate principles and then let people be actively involved in their own well-being. So I'm hoping that these are going to be basic principles, and my expectation is that you then say, that's a pretty good principle. I'm going to go look up some more information on that and apply that to myself. So that's why we took all that time talking about curating, because it really is the gap between, all this information and then being well. Is I'm right there in the middle. I need to make some good decisions.
And we're looking through the lens of those 3 things, right?
Yes. So all of our do's, don'ts, and implements are going to support our three-legged stool.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the 3 legs?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, let's go.
The gut health.
Yes.
And a lot going on there with leaky gut and different things that happen. And it's really that gut biome that breaks down these foods to produce the things we need. And if that thing's not good, you can put whatever food you want into, but you're not going to get the right thing. Very important. 2, the blood sugar regulation, which the impact of that, and I love the conversation about the processed sugar, but the more complex carbs and the need that they're totally different, and how it's going to impact the brain and body. Something that I think we miss out a lot. And then the thing about the liver. I mean, the liver is so amazing. And this whole thing about cholesterol, it's not a bad thing, but the liver, it's just really cool stuff. The liver is really cool.
Yeah.
And so I love the idea that you're not just saying, well, do this diet, do these 6 things. But as you went through the curation, it's like you need to be an informed person that's curating this, that is making those choices that will stick with you as a person. And as long as we're going through those 3 filters, we're going to end up okay, right?
Right.
Yeah. So let's go. I can't wait.
All right. That's so good. You did good listening.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm not going to promote a certain diet because actually research has shown, through looking at these different blue zones and all this, and even looking at ancient diets, that really a lot of it has to do with, do you fit within your space in the world? So it's different in different parts of the world because our fresh food, different things are available at different seasons. So there really isn't a one size fits all. So let's go on with these principles and see if this helps for people making decisions.
Yeah.
So my number 1 do, trumps all other do's, is to eat fiber.
Yes, I've heard this many times from you.
So fiber benefits are 3 anti-inflammatory routes, easy to track, easy to understand, all through the research, no questions at all. So I don't even know if I need to really go into the benefits of fiber. For gut health, the fiber feeds the bacteria. The fiber slows it keeps the motility through the digestive system, so it prevents the slowing and sitting of food in your digestive system. It slows the process of sugar breakdown.
Here we are again.
So that's really good for the blood sugar management. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing because it slows the blood sugar breakdown, or the sugar breakdown, but it speeds the motility. So it's just so cool that it can do both of those at the same time. And then it's crazy for the liver health. It's just so good for everything related to the liver health. Yeah. It reduces the processing burden that we place on the liver. and it helps with eliminating toxins. So again, super important. I'm going to give you 2 little keys.
Okay.
Most people consume less than half of the recommended daily fiber goal, which is 25 to 30 grams.
Okay.
So the healthy people say 25 to 30 grams is barely enough. You need 35 to 40. Now that's going to be related to the different sizes. I'm not going to need as many as a big basketball player is going to need. But big key, focus on soluble fiber.
Yep.
Okay. Most fiber comes with soluble and insoluble in one package. That's the way nature planned it. But there are lovely lists that you can look up that have foods with high soluble fiber. Look at the list, find stuff you like, go to the store and buy it and start eating it. Okay?
Perfect.
And start slow, because if you don't, you may be visiting the other room in our house more frequently than you want to.
Yeah.
So you got to start slow, but the body loves fiber, and it'll grow in its ability to tolerate the fiber. And the fiber is so, so good for you. Okay?
Perfect. Love it.
So next one is very easy. We're not going to spend a ton of time, but eat color. Super simple. Naturally occurring foods are usually very colorful. Just think about the produce department and all the colors that you see in there, from a pumpkin to an apple to a lime to a purple cabbage.
Beautiful.
Just beautiful, beautiful colors. These are not the same colors as what you find in the bag of gummy bears or Skittles.
Yes.
Okay? Those are not colors. Those are dyes. All right? Colors that we're talking about are generally connected with fiber.
Wow.
Right? So all the colorful foods generally have fiber in them. And so they're doubly good for you. So anything I told you that's good about fiber for the gut health is going to be good about color for the gut health. And same with the blood sugar regulation. It's because the color is connected with the fiber. So one of the fun words, anthocyanins,
of course,
has to do with the coloring in the foods.
Interesting.
And that helps improve insulin sensitivity, just naturally occurring. So, and of course, the fiber also helps the liver, because many of the colorful foods have detox properties to them.
Okay.
Okay. So those are called polyphenols. They're anti-inflammatory. Just throw a few of these words around and people think you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. But so you want all of those colors. So the next thing is, I think, almost redundant. Eat fresh. Most fresh foods have color and fiber. So
interesting.
I'm just going to be repeating myself, but fresh foods are not in boxes and plastic bags, and they don't last on the shelf
for 6 years.
No, that is not a fresh food. It may have been a fresh food when it entered the factory, so the factory can put on the label that it's from fresh foods, but it is not a fresh food anymore because what we've done to it. So the processing of the food has changed it from something that is a fresh food to something that we're not exactly sure what it is anymore. So we have to be really careful when we get away from fresh foods. So fresh foods, also one thing I would want to mention about fresh foods is this.
Yeah.
Take this one with you. When we eat animal foods like eggs and milk and meat, please choose those items that come from animals that consumed fresh foods. Okay?
Makes sense.
So an animal from a feedlot that just ate processed little cribbles and nuggets their whole life, that's not going to be really a very good fresh food for you anymore either. Okay? Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that they're delivering those byproducts of that aren't healthy to me.
Yes.
To me via what I'm going to eat from them.
That's a little point of confusion, because you can say, I had a piece of fish.
Yeah.
It's good for me. It is good for you, but depending on how that fish lived, if it's from a wild environment, it's going to have more nutrients in it, and it's going to have less toxins in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's those two things. So let's move on to this one is a favorite, and it's a one that I'm developing as I live my life, as I curate.
Yeah.
Okay. It's called Eat Ferments,
Oh yeah.
right? So fermented food is so, so good for you. It used to be part of everyone's diet because we didn't have refrigeration. So people purposefully fermented things to preserve them. And so fermented food used to be part of everyone's diet. And then as we got refrigerators and preservation chemicals and things, we quit fermenting. But fermentation is taking a whole food or a fresh food and all those things I said already, a fibrous food and a colorful food, and it's allowing it to ferment, which means now we not only have the benefits of that raw food, but we have a microbiome associated with it.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the ultimate probiotic.
That's so cool.
So if we could all do it, and I haven't reached this point yet, but this is where we should be getting our probiotics from, is getting the right ferments that bring the right microbes into my body. So I'm a big kombucha advocate. So that's my favorite. But other examples people would be familiar with are yogurt, not the cute little Dannon yogurt or the squeeze things, but like a real yogurt. You got to look at how it was processed and check what has been put into it, or make your own. But yogurt is still a good option. But things like sauerkraut and even pickles, but you need to get them in the cooler. Like sauerkraut and pickles in a can or a jar is not the same. You got to get it in the cooler. If you want to be real creative in your curating, go and dig into ferments and see what you can find.
Love it.
Okay?
Sounds like a good idea.
I'm getting near the end of things to do.
I love it. This is awesome.
Eat good fats.
Yep.
Okay? So good fats are going to do some good things for you. They're going to strengthen the gut lining and help us to prevent that leakage. They are going to feed the good bacteria, and they'll improve digestion and nutrient absorption because the gut health will be better. So then we'll break down food better and we'll absorb better. Okay? For blood sugar, fats are awesome at slowing down the sugar high. It is very, very good at preventing those spikes and helping with insulin resistance. For the liver, oh dear, it prevents fat buildup in the liver. How can that be?
That doesn't make any sense.
But the thing is, it's the difference of the good fats and the bad fats.
Okay.
So the good fats help your body in so many ways that it helps decrease this fatty buildup in the liver when we actually have the right kind of fats. So think about omega-3 that you get from the fatty fish.
Good fat. Okay.
That's a good fat that comes in and helps do healing things and reverses some of this fat buildup in the liver cells that comes from inflammation. Okay. It also helps support just liver cell repair because the cell walls need the fat in them from the omega-3. So anyway, what I want you to do is look up the list of good fats and make sure that those are the fats you have in your home and then enjoy them. So going back to also when I talked about eating food from animals that ate food.
Right.
That's where we want to get fats from too.
That are eating good.
Right. So like fat from a grass-fed cow is different than the fat from the mill cow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't want that fat at all. So if you knew where your meat was coming from, it would be the difference of whether you're going to cut that off and throw it in the trash or whether you're going to include it in the fat drippings in your meal.
Yeah. I think I've heard you say or somebody say that those animals need to be eating something green.
Yes.
In order to, if they're eating brown stuff,
right,
it's not gonna. That's more omega-6, and we want the omega-3, which is going to come from green. That's why fish who are eating algae, we tend to get a lot from that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And they're getting all kinds of little microbiome benefits from the earth.
Gotcha.
Too. So it's amazing. They're much more healthy animals. Okay, so we're going to switch gears. We're going to go to the don'ts.
Okay.
Don't want to be too negative, but we're going to move right into the first don't is don't eat bad fats.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So we already said do eat good fats because they're
Right.
actually good for you. So I don't want to go into too much detail, but everything that's in a bad fat is the opposite of what's in a good fat.
Mhm.
Okay. And let's just start with bad fats being things like margarine and Crisco. But then you need to go and look up what are other bad fats because it'll be surprising to you.
Yeah.
Because if you go to the grocery store, they're still going to say healthy, natural, all those things. But the more a fat is processed, the worse it is for our body. And in order to be on those pretty packaged things on the shelf, we're doing things like removing the color and breaking them into something that is solid at room temperature. And we're altering those fats.
Yeah.
And then those fats are foreigners in our body. And so
Gotcha.
they are causing an immune response. So watch your fats because they can be the key to good or the key to bad.
Okay.
Okay. So then here's another real easy avoid. Avoid refined and processed food. Okay. Refined and processed foods are everything that's in packages
Yeah.
where we have had to alter these naturally occurring substances to make them last longer or look different. So we have to be really careful of these
Yeah.
things because they don't digest the same way.
Mhm.
Okay. So be very careful with finding. It's hard because our culture, we want to take something healthy and make it into a quick, fast grab and go, right? But you have to be thinking, I wonder what they did to this to make it a quick, fast grab and go.
Yeah.
Right? So our body can tolerate an amount of this. So I like to think of the 80-20. And so I think I'm probably pretty good with 80% processed and 20% fresh whole foods. But I would have to measure that off of my body's response to what I'm doing.
Because
So
everybody's
again,
different.
there's the
Yeah.
curating, right?
Yeah.
So measure that out. All right. Next one to avoid is toxins. This seems really, really obvious to me. Like obviously, there's toxins in our environment we want to avoid, things like that. But you might want to just look up a list that says like, what are the most commonly overlooked toxins in my food supply? Maybe that will be helpful because often those things change from year to year of what's out there. And it just helps to be aware of it so you can make the best choices. I've heard of people that are like, oh my gosh, I thought this was a health food and I've been eating it 3 times a day and then find out, no, it's actually has toxins in it. So you do have to be careful. You have to be knowledgeable. Okay. So the last don't is a really, really hard one. And it's really, really important. So I'm going to take a few minutes and really try to unpack it. So here it is. It's overeating. So this is a really hard topic to talk about because one, eating is a very personal subject and people get their feelings hurt and can get offended by this topic. And everyone's needs with eating are different. But I want to explain why I'm saying don't overeat. And it comes from understanding that overeating triggers inflammation in our body. I never knew this before, but I learned it more recently. And then as I've continued to grow in the space, it just keeps coming back and I keep finding out I need to address this topic. It's the elephant in the room. So I'm going to explain why overeating is not good for us. Okay. So overeating causes blood sugar spikes that cause oxidative stress and inflammatory responses.
Right.
So we talked about this before, but our bodies are able to tolerate a certain amount. So even if I do want ice cream, if I eat a scoop of ice cream, it's a lot different than 3 scoops of ice cream. Okay. So what happens with the 3 scoops is the blood sugar spike. And that happens especially with high carbohydrate foods. So that's an area to be especially careful of. A second thing that happens with overeating is that the excess calories that we took in are now straining the existing fat cells. And this causes them to release inflammatory molecules called cytokines. Okay?
Wow.
And kines are usually killers. So cyto means cell, kines are killers. So that's inflammatory, and that goes into our circulation, and that goes across the blood-brain barrier. So we really don't want these fat cells releasing that, so we don't want to irritate them by overfeeding them. Okay? Next is that overeating often leads to weight gain because the calories are exceeding the expenditures. Now,
Yep.
mind you, I understand the eating competitions and that half of those people are skinny.
Yeah.
And so that's just a whole nother thing, and it isn't really good for you. But if you win the trophy, I guess it might be worth it in the short term. But this weight gain creates more fat tissue. And unfortunately, that's more fat cells that can let off cytokines. And also fat holds toxins. So now we have a situation where we're like, it's a storage unit. And it's one thing if we're going to go and expend the energy, but if we're not, then we just have the storage unit that's holding the toxins in it. Like, not a good situation, not a good setup for overall well-being. Next is that digestive overload can actually damage the gut lining. So we're going back to the gut health. Nope. But having too much food in there can actually work towards that leaky gut. And that's a little bit complicated way, but we're just going to say it does not, it's unhealthy for the gut lining. Processing large amounts of food creates a metabolic byproducts. Like we said before, it's like the exhaust.
The waste, yes.
Yes, exactly. And that is damaging to the cells and can cross the blood-brain barrier. And then overeating typically involves inflammatory foods like the refined carbohydrates, the processed foods. Yeah, it's pretty difficult to overeat on the fresh, colorful, fibrous because you feel fuller from those foods. So portion control, if we didn't want to say it as a don't overeat, we could say do practice portion control. Okay? So we're going to move into some practices. Okay. Now, these are fun because to me, these are some ones that you can say, I'm going to try that for 21 days and I'm going to see how that goes. So one of them is intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is almost the opposite of overeating because what we're going to do is we're going to condense our eating time into a timed window. And that has many, many benefits, has been shown from the beginning of time to be healthy.
Yeah.
I always love the idea that the Bible, God told the children of Israel to have these fasting periods. And now to learn how important fasting is like, oh, he was totally keeping them healthy. You
Interesting.
know? So it's really amazing. But this intermittent fasting that we're talking about doing now is something you can do for the long haul. So there are day fasts and there are water or fasts where you only drink and you don't eat. There's all kinds of different fasts and they're good for different reasons. But intermittent fasting can be a lifestyle. So where you would say, I'm going to not eat between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. And some people might say, well, that's just natural. But there are parts of our culture that we eat right up until bedtime. And the first thing we do when we wake up is we eat. And for people that sleep 6 hours, that's really not enough fasting. Okay. So we need a 12-hour fast. In all of the literature about fasting, the bare minimum is the 12-hour fast, and it produces the broadest range of benefits to the broadest range of human beings.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so studies from like 20-year-olds to 80-year-olds, males, females, all of that. So 12 is all we really need to shoot for. There's plenty of people that will want to try push that further. There's a lot of people that talk about being on almost like a high when they're in the fasting period. And so they want to push that more, and that's fine. You need to curate that and find out what's good for you. But the big principle for the gut health, the blood sugar, and the liver is that during the period of fasting, all of our systems can finish doing their job and take a rest before the next thing comes along. So it stands to reason that most of that fasting time is during our sleep because that's when we do the majority of our rest digest cycle. And the liver is detoxing and the blood sugar is stable. And it's really just good for so many things. But the overarching principle is it just needs a break. Stop
Right.
shoving stuff in there that the body needs to process. Digestion is one of the hardest things you do every single day.
Wow.
You think you go to the gym and work out. Digestion, the process of digesting burns more calories than that workout. And that's something that we don't really think about real often.
No.
So intermittent fasting is a really big bang for your buck. Okay?
Okay.
Another principle of practices to do is cook slow, eat slow. I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to let you all look it up. Cook slow. I say that because high heat cooking can damage the foods and decrease their nutrient value. So slow cooking holds that in more. Eat slow is all about allowing your body to produce the enzymes that are needed for digestion, allow your brain to have the experience of the dopamine release, your saliva is releasing, and generally speaking, if you slow down your eating, you'll chew more, your food will digest easily. So eat slow, and also there's, the preparation of the food with whole foods and fibrous foods usually involves chopping and cutting and all of that. Really, really good for when you're curating mental health, social well-being, spiritual even, of thinking about, wow, where did this plant come from? How did it land in my saucepan, and how thankful am I for that?
Awesome.
So eat slow,
That's
cook
really
slow.
Good
Good one.
There's a lot there.
I know. 2 to go.
Take your time.
Okay.
This is great.
Digestive walk.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is great.
Big bang
Love this.
for your buck. 20 minutes. Easygoing walk. We don't have to be, putting on weights or strutting at a certain pace. Just go for a walk after you eat. It does wonders. There's a long list of things I'll try to highlight, but it'll surprise you. It manages your blood sugar because it eliminates that huge spike, and it improves your triglyceride levels that rise after meals, reduces bloating and gas discomfort, moves your food downward, so it reduces acid reflux. It improves your bowel movement patterns. If you're getting some exercise, even it improves it the next day. So moving improves the motility of the digestion, and we all need that. It actually gives mental clarity after meals and reduces stress, because it's just balancing all of the processes that happen after you eat, and it's making all of that kind of smooth that out. And they even say that you sleep better if you take a walk after your dinner. A funny study showed that a 20-minute digestive walk was more effective over a 6-month period than 3 or 4 other diet plans that people went through.
That's crazy.
Where they were adjusting their meals, adjusting their calorie intake, et cetera, but a group did not adjust anything, but they just did the 20-minute walk and they lost more weight. One more practice is sleep.
Yep.
So I can't underestimate the importance of sleep in relation to brain-based nutrition. So sleep is where the hunger hormones are regulated. Sleep deprivation increases cravings for the wrong kinds of foods. Sleep deprivation can reduce insulin sensitivity.
Here we are again.
By 25 to 30%.
Oh my God.
One night of sleep deprivation. So if you ever wonder, you have that bad night of sleep, the next day you're just going after the worst kinds of foods.
Yeah.
And it's not because you're a bad person. It's because the brain is literally telling you to go get those things. So you have to understand what's driving that. Inadequate sleep slows your metabolic rate, decreases the body's ability to use the calories that we've taken in. Sleep deprivation gets involved with the gut lining. When we sleep, the gut is repairing itself and optimizing digestion and absorption. That's why we call it rest and digest. Obviously, sleep is essential for the muscles and the protein synthesis, muscle repair. Poor sleep increases all the inflammatory markers. So we're talking about brain again.
Yeah.
So in, say you do have a little leaky gut, Pair that with poor sleep, and now we're really like, we just put gas on the fire.
Wow.
All right. And then, I just said inflammation levels. Good nutrition, on the other hand, can improve sleep quality, which we know that the better we sleep, the more healthy we are. And like our brain health gets so impacted by that. So sleep hygiene, all of those things are worth the effort.
Definitely. And for the brain, huge, huge, huge.
Yeah. Yep. So the last thing I will say is just a few words about supplements.
Okay.
You cannot bottle health in a pill. You cannot. You can go to the store and see all those pills. You could bring them all home and you could try every single one, and they will not guarantee health. Some of them will help sometimes, and some will not help, and some will help specific situations. So I want to just give 3 very broad recommendations. Okay. One is omega-3 supplementation. This is Brain Health 101. It's also anti-inflammatory 101. Everybody, every cell needs omega-3 in the cell wall. And if we don't have it, then our cell walls are compromised. They're vulnerable. Be careful to get omega-3 that has DHA and EPA in it. It's very specific. And I believe you're going to want 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams per day. But there's ways to measure that and to know exactly what you want. Vitamin D3 with K2. You got to put the two together. You want it for anti-inflammatory purposes. Also really good for bone health. Other thing is you can get quite a bit from the sunshine if you live in a sunny place. But if you do not live in a sunny place, you better be taking it every day. Magnesium. Magnesium is involved in over 400 cellular functions in our body. And we can't get enough of it in our daily nutrition. I mean, unless we're on a tube feed that has the recommended daily allowance placed in it. But you just can't get enough of it. Any kind of magnesium is going to be helpful. There's lots and lots of different types. You can read about what's the best type for absorption and things like that. But any magnesium every day is going to be helpful, especially at bedtime. It helps with the sleeping.
Perfect.
So you want to do that. 2 questionable supplements. Multivitamin is always, kind of like 50-50. What should I be doing with that? It can be helpful if you're not eating a really well-balanced diet, which is really hard to do.
Right.
But in any of these supplement cases, you have got to have a well-sourced supplement because there is junk on the market.
Right.
And you don't want to spend your money on that and then poop it out the other end tomorrow.
Right.
So that in the probiotic scene, probiotics are good, but we do tend to poop out a lot of those as well. So probiotics, I would say I would recommend those on specific basis. Like for sure, after a course of antibiotics, you should take some probiotics for a month or 2 or 3. But you're much, much better off eating the ferments and getting it straight from the food. So that is
amazing.
It. That
Absolutely
is not a
incredible.
nutshell. That is manifesto.
It's a whole meal.
That's a whole meal.
Appetizer,
And
main
just
course, dessert.
wanting to finish with going back to the curator.
Yeah.
I am the curator of my human being. I am so blessed to be a human being and be able to be making choices and establishing practices and things. It's a very exciting thing, but it does go back to taking the responsibility.
I was just going to say responsibility. That's so funny that you said that because that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you for going over that with me, and I hope it was helpful.
Yeah. Let's rock and roll.